Okay, well, we all know kind of tons of sugar is bad for you. Tons of sugar is bad for you, like tons of fat. Should you eat a diet filled with lots of extra fat in it? I mean, it's probably obvious to you, no. Should you eat a diet that's filled with sugar? Should you wake up in the morning, have a spoonful of sugar to get started, and then a spoonful of sugar here and a spoonful of sugar there with lots of sugar? Is that a good idea? No. So, America, the corporations, Coca-Cola and everybody, they came up with a solution, which is diet soda. And the idea there is if you had less calories and you drank the same amount, that the lower calories would help you lose weight, because it's purely calories in, calories out. We were all taught that, right? Except they found some kind of disappointing research. Okay? If you feed animals Diet Coke versus Coke, the mice 6 months later who drink the Diet Coke will be heavier. They did another study. Purdue University did a study, and they put saccharin, another artificial sweetener, in the water of the mice, and the mice who had saccharin in their feedings got heavier. Another 2 or 3 studies have looked at just people reporting what they eat. And the more diet drinks they have per day, the heavier they are. The more diet drinks they drink per day, the more likely they are to have obesity. The more diet drinks they have per day, the more likely they are to be diabetic. Okay, so people come back at me and they're angry about this data. What do you think of, Dr. Rutledge, what do you want me to do, drink Coke? No. I'm not saying that Coca-Cola is good, and I'm not saying diet soda is good. Here's the bad news. Neither one is any good. On the other hand, is orange juice bad for you because it has sugar in it? I don't think so. People get wound up over liquid calories and drinking orange juice and stuff like that because it has sugar in it. You don't want to eat tons of sugar. On the other hand, the foundational advice that we have in our advice to you is eat a healthy diet. That's fresh fruits and vegetables and things like that. Now, is Gatorade a good choice? Well, no. Gatorade is a specific medicine that's tremendously valuable to help you resuscitate you in the case in which you're dehydrated from your mini-gastric bypass. So, just as we wouldn't want you to take Tylenol and aspirin and things like that unless it's necessary, then Gatorade is not a great choice unless you need it. And if you need it, like a little boy who has cholera in Biafra, then it's tremendously valuable. It has sugar in it. It doesn't help to find the low sugar version of Gatorade or the artificial flavored version. So when you see an artificial flavoring on things, in general, we think it's a bad choice. The research suggests that when your brain sees artificial sweetener, it says, fine, and I'll remember to go get this many calories plus more from the other food. I know that's bad news because we heard Liz knew how to eat. Liz told us a perfect example. She said he went, ordered a quarter pounder with cheese and extra large fries, and, oh, I'm watching my weight, I'll have a Diet Coke. I'm afraid, as nice as that sounds, it seems like a good idea, it's a bad idea. Now, people get angry and they say, well, what do you want me to do, drink a Coke? No. You can't have the Coke, you can't have the Diet Coke.
I just wanted to know the best options for stage 1 because I've heard so much about Gatorade and the wheat.
Yeah, Gatorade's a good choice.
But every Gatorade I've looked at, I'm just telling you.
I know that, but it's a good choice to resuscitate you. As a long-term foundation of your diet, it's not a great choice. But if you want to have your blood pressure come up, not pass out, be able to enjoy the day, Gatorade is a good medicine. But you should think of it as a medicine and something that you use only as needed.
Okay. I have a couple other questions.
Yeah.
Approximately what percent of the patients need a revision, and what percent would need it revised for losing too much weight?
We've had 30-some patients that have lost too much weight, so that makes us 30 some out of 4,400 now, so it's under 1%. Revisions for additional weight loss is interesting because a lot of people have lost and been successful, but they just want more. So we've had some people who've lost 140 pounds but still want more, and we have about 3 to 5%, depending on how you define it, who are getting revisions for additional weight loss.
So when we see you the day of surgery, you'll have that discussion with us about how much you think?
Yes, yes. And here's my advice to you about negotiating with me at the time of surgery, how much to bypass. I would like to tell you a story about surgery, and instead of surgery, though, I'm going to give you an analogy. Imagine that tomorrow, or when's your surgery?
Thursday.
Imagine that Thursday, instead of having surgery, we're going to play golf. But you're not going to play golf. We're going to have Tiger Woods play in a match of golf for you. And if he wins that golf match, you live. If he loses, you'll die. So now you have that golf match in mind. Now with me in your mind, I want you to walk up and I'm going to introduce you to Tiger Woods. And I'll say, this is Kathleen, this is Tiger, Tiger, Kathleen, Kathleen, Tiger. Now after you've met him and shook his hand, do you think you should advise him on how to play golf? Say, I think you should move your right foot back a little, duck your head a little, and cock your shoulder, and stop using that 3-iron and go ahead and use a hybrid club instead? No. My advice is to get your very best surgeon you can find and then let him decide.
Which is what I assume you do.
Right.
What I thought we talked about.
But we definitely are going to talk about it.
And I have one very last question. I've been taking very seriously this, several days before the operation prep with the diet and everything. Smoothies, is that considered?
It depends on what's in the smoothie. Remember, what we're looking for is to avoid a lot of gas and bulk. So if you were to have a smoothie that happened to have a lot of added lactose and you're a little bit lactose insufficient, you might get quite a bit of gas from that. Some people get gas from peanuts or different things. So what you want to do is have a light diet. Generally salads and soups work pretty well because they're generally pretty easily digestible. And smoothies can be tricky depending on who makes them and what's in them.
Okay.
So it's a good question.